I'm 75 years old, and I want to tell you about the biggest mistake of my life. It wasn't a single moment of failure. It wasn't a bad investment or a missed opportunity. It was a series of choices made over decades that seemed so right at the time but cost me everything that truly mattered. I chose my career over my marriage, and now I sit alone in a house that's too quiet, surrounded by awards and achievements that mean nothing when there's no one to share them with. If you're watching this and you're climbing the ladder of success, working late nights, missing dinners, postponing quality time because you believe you're building a better future, please listen to what I have to say, because I was you once. And I wish someone had grabbed me by the shoulders and shown me what I was about to lose. When I was 28, I married the love of my life. Her name was Margaret. She had this laugh that could light up a room and a patience with me that I never deserved. We were young, optimistic, and genuinely in love. We talked about building a life together, about the family we'd raise, the adventures we'd have, growing old on a porch, somewhere watching sunsets. But I was also ambitious, hungry, really. I came from a working-class family where money was always tight, and I had promised myself I would never struggle the way my parents did. So when I got my first real job at an accounting firm, I threw myself into it completely. I wanted to prove myself. I wanted to rise. I wanted to be somebody. And society told me this was noble. Work hard, provide, be successful. That's what a good husband does, right? That's what a good man does. So I worked 60, then 70, then 80-hour weeks. I told Margaret it was temporary. Just until I make partner, I said. Just until we're financially secure. Just until I establish myself. She believed me. God, she believed me. In those early years, she would wait up for me, dinner cold, on the table. She'd ask about my day, and I'd be too exhausted to engage. She'd suggest weekend trips, and I'd have work to finish. She wanted to start a family, and I'd say, soon, honey, when things settle down at work. But things never settled down. Because the truth is, I didn't want them to. The office became my refuge, my identity. Every promotion, every raise, every achievement gave me a hit of validation that felt intoxicating. I was being recognized, respected, rewarded. At work, I was important. At work, I mattered. At home, I was just there. The pattern started slowly, almost invisibly. I'd miss one dinner, then another. Then it became normal. Margaret stopped setting a place for me. She ate alone, night after night, in the dining room we'd picked out together. I missed her 35th birthday because of a client emergency. I promised I'd make it up to her. I didn't. I missed our 10th anniversary because I was traveling for a conference. This is a huge opportunity for us, I told her. She just nodded. By then, she had stopped arguing. When Margaret's father died, I flew back for the funeral, but left the next morning for a meeting. I can still see her face at the airport, red from crying, and I remember thinking, she'd understand. This deal is too important. Even in her grief, I chose work. I told myself I was doing this for us, for our future. I convinced myself that every sacrifice was temporary, that every missed moment would be worth it. When I finally reached the top, she'll thank me later, I thought. When we have the house, the car, the financial security, she'll see that this was all for her. But here's what I didn't see. Margaret stopped reaching for my hand. She stopped asking me to come home early. She stopped sharing her days with me. She built a life that didn't include me because I had shown her repeatedly that I wasn't available. When she suggested counseling, I said I was too busy. When she told me she was lonely, I bought her expensive gifts. When she cried and said she felt invisible, I reminded her of the bills I was paying. I had become so fluent in the language of money and status that I'd forgotten how to speak the language of love. I kept thinking, next year will be different. Next year I'll slow down, but next year never came, because there was always another promotion to chase, another goal to reach, another rung on the ladder. I was 52 when Margaret left me. I came home one evening late, as always, and found a letter on the kitchen counter. Not an email, not a text. A handwritten letter sitting next to her wedding ring. My hands shook as I read it. She wrote about the years of loneliness, the conversations we never had, the life she had imagined that never materialized. She wrote that she had begged, waited, and hoped for 2 decades, but she couldn't spend whatever time she had left waiting for a husband who was never going to show up. The line that broke me was this: I don't think you chose your career over me. I think you chose your career over yourself too. You've been so busy climbing that you forgot to live. I hope you find what you're looking for, but I can't wait anymore. I stood in that kitchen, in our empty house, holding that letter, and I felt like the floor had collapsed beneath me. I called her immediately, begged her to come back, promised I would change, really change this time, but her voice was calm, resolved. She said she'd heard those promises before. The divorce was finalized 8 months later. I threw myself into work even harder after that because I didn't know what else to do, but the promotions felt hollow. The achievements felt meaningless. I'd reach the office at dawn and stay until midnight, but it wasn't ambition anymore, it was avoidance. I was running from the silence of my empty home. 3 years after the divorce, I got the promotion I'd spent my entire career chasing. Vice president, corner office, 6-figure salary. I sat in that office on my first day, looking at the view of the city, and I realized there was no one to call, no one to celebrate with, no one who cared. I had one, and I had lost everything. That's when it hit me, really hit me. The biggest lie we tell ourselves is that success and achievement will somehow compensate for the relationships we neglect. We think they'll understand, they'll be proud. It will all be worth it, but the truth is no amount of money, no job title, no professional achievement can replace the presence, the attention, the love that our people need from us. I had spent 30 years investing in a career that didn't love me back. Companies don't love you. Jobs don't hold your hand when you're scared. Promotions don't sit with you in hospitals. Titles don't comfort you when you're alone. Margaret didn't leave me because I worked hard. She left me because I had made her feel like she didn't matter, like she was an obligation, a supporting character in the story of my success. I had reduced our marriage to a checkbox on my list of accomplishments, something I had, but didn't tend to. And here's what haunts me most. She had tried. For years, she tried. She invited me into moments, into connection, into life, and I said no. Over and over again, through my actions, I said no. I thought I was building a future for us, but I was actually building a future without her. Now I understand you can't postpone a marriage, You can't put love on hold until it's more convenient. Relationships require presence. They require attention. They require showing up, not just physically, but emotionally. And I had been absent for decades. The painful inventory was this. I could remember every major deal I closed, but I couldn't remember the last time I'd really listened to Margaret. I could recall every promotion, but I couldn't recall the last time I'd asked her about her dreams. I had memorized contracts and figures, but I had forgotten the sound of her laughter. I had been so focused on the life I was trying to build that I destroyed the life I already had. After that realization, something shifted in me. I couldn't get Margaret back. That ship had sailed, and I had to accept it. But I could change how I lived the rest of my life. I stepped back from work, not completely, but significantly. I started saying no to projects that would consume my weekends. I left the office at reasonable hours. I stopped measuring my worth by my productivity. And then I started rebuilding connections. I reached out to old friends I'd neglected. I called my brother, who I hadn't spoken to in years because I was always too busy. I volunteered at a community center, not to network, but to actually contribute to something meaningful. I started therapy. At 58, I finally started unpacking why I had been so afraid of stillness, why I had used work as a shield against intimacy and vulnerability. It wasn't easy. There were many nights when I sat alone in my house and felt the weight of what I'd lost. There were moments when I wanted to retreat back into work, because at least there I knew what to do. But I forced myself to sit with the discomfort, to feel the loneliness, to understand what I had put Margaret through for all those years. Slowly, I started finding moments of real joy. Simple things, coffee with a friend, a Sunday morning with nothing scheduled, a conversation where I was fully present. These things didn't come with awards or recognition, but they filled something in me that all my professional success never had. I even started dating again, though it took years before I was ready. And this time I did it differently. I showed up. I listened. I made the person I was with feel like they mattered, because they did. If I could speak to my younger self, here's what I would say. Your career will not hold you when you're sick. Your job will not comfort you when you're afraid. Your achievements will not sit beside you in your final days. The people you love will. If you're lucky enough to have them, I know what you're thinking, but I have to work. I have bills to pay. I have responsibilities. I'm not telling you to quit your job. I'm telling you to stop hiding behind it. Stop using your career as an excuse to avoid the hard, messy, beautiful work of being present for the people you love. You think you have time. You think there will be a magical moment when work slows down and you can finally focus on your relationships. That moment doesn't exist. Life doesn't give you permission to start living. You have to take it. Ask yourself this. If your spouse, your partner, the person you love left tomorrow, would they know how much they meant to you? Have you shown them through your actions, your presence, your attention? Or have you just told yourself that they know while you continue to prioritize everything else? Success at work means nothing if you fail at home. And believe me, you can be incredibly successful professionally while your marriage crumbles, while your children grow distant, while the person who once looked at you with love learns to look away. I'm not saying ambition is wrong. I'm saying balance is essential. And real balance means sometimes choosing dinner with your spouse over a late meeting. Sometimes choosing your child's recital over a networking event. Sometimes choosing to be fully present in a conversation instead of checking your phone. The moments that matter don't announce themselves. They're quiet, they're ordinary, a Tuesday evening, a lazy Sunday morning, a conversation over coffee. And if you're not there for them, they slip away. And one day you'll realize those ordinary moments were actually everything. Don't wait for a wake-up call. Don't wait for the letter on the counter. Don't wait until you're 73 and alone to realize what you had. It's not too late for you. Even if you've already made mistakes, even if you've already missed moments, it's not too late to change course. Tonight, when you get home, put your phone away. Look at your partner. Really look at them. Ask them about their day and actually listen. Tell them they matter. Tell them you see them. This week, schedule time with your family that's non-negotiable. Not when work allows, non-negotiable. Treat it with the same importance you'd treat a meeting with your biggest client. And if there's damage to repair, start now. Apologize. Not with words alone, but with changed behavior. Show up differently. I can't get Margaret back. I can't reclaim those 30 years. But I can tell you what I learned, so maybe you won't have to learn it the way I did. Your career is important, but it's not everything. And one day, when everything else falls away, the only thing that will matter is who you loved and who loved you back. Don't let ambition rob you of the life you could be living right now. I'm 75 years old. I sit alone most evenings, and I would trade every achievement, every award, every dollar in my bank account for one more dinner with the woman I loved. Don't make my mistake. Start living now, because time waits for no one.